6 p.m. The date is 4/17/2023. The place is the Administration Building, 1401 East 144th Street, East Chicago, Indiana, 46312. We're also via live stream at www.scec.k12.in.us. This is a meeting of the school board in public for the purpose of conducting the school corporation business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. Item 1, call to order. Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gomez.
Present.
Trustee Smith. Trustee Hernandez Orange.
Present.
Trustee Gibson King.
Present.
Chairman Rodriguez.
Present. Can we please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America So item 3, item 3.1, approval of the agenda. Is there any questions or comments regarding the approval of the agenda from the audience at this time? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to approve the agenda as present?
Madam President, I'm making a motion to approve the agenda.
A motion made by trustee Gibson King. Do I hear a second? To approve the agenda today. Is there a second? No second. Attorney Harris?
Yes.
As far as the approval of the agenda, there was no second, so what's the next steps?
If there is no second on the approval of the agenda, there's no business to conduct tonight, and the meeting would be canceled.
Okay.
You need a second to approve the agenda so we can move forward with completing the agenda.
All right. So that actually concludes.
Chairman
Trustee-
Rodriguez?
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
You could have seconded the agenda.
You can.
Oh, sure, in that case, I'll second it. Is there any questions or comments at this time from the board? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gomez.
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange.
Yes.
Trustee Gibson King.
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez.
Yes. Item 4, presentation, 4.1, Washington Elementary School. Dr. Brego.
Yes, thank you. We have a presentation by Washington Elementary School. Principal Hogan, if you would please introduce your staff or your students.
I'd like for all of Washington staff to come over. And students. Do the students first, come on. Introduce yourselves. Before you name.
I'm Talia Davis.
Valerie Cardenas.
Madison Sanders.
Okay. We want to introduce the staff, but I did want them to stand because what we're going to present is because of all of these people and a whole lot more that are not here today. They couldn't be here today. Who's going to work there? We're going to introduce or show some of our celebrations. We have a 5-minute time frame, so we tried to fit as much as we could. This is the staff at Washington Elementary minus a few people. These are the hard workers that do all of the work every single day to support our students. Washington Celebration events, first semester. We had open house, bilingual loteria night, National Hispanic Heritage Month Spirit Week, lunch with someone special, American Education Week, Spirit Week, Red Ribbon Spirit Week, Literacy Family Night. Here are pictures from our Hispanic Heritage Month, Loteria Night, Loteria Bingo Night. Those are more pictures. Hispanic Heritage Spirit Week. These are some of the classrooms. This went from kindergarten all the way up to 6th grade. Lunch with someone special. The students absolutely enjoy this opportunity. One, because they don't get to bring McDonald's and Subway and Burger King and all that good stuff to lunch. But lunch with someone special, they absolutely do. And they look forward to their parents or their grandparents or their guardian, or sometimes it's a family friend, to just come and have lunch with them. So it's definitely a special day. Then we had American Education Week, Spirit Week. Literacy Night. This night is very special. We've been doing this for quite a few years, where parents, guardians, friends of the family come in and they make ornaments, different arts and crafts for the students to take home. We also tie it to literacy, so there are books that teachers come up with activities that parents can do with their children at home over the winter break. Then we move into Holiday Spirit Week. Second semester, English Learner Parent Meeting, 100 Days of School, Black History Month Spirit Week, Black History Month Musical, Read Across America Spirit Week, Read Across America Guest Readers, Week of the Young Child in Washington Athletics. This is 100 Days of School. I think this is probably one of our favorites because the kids come and they dress like they're 100 years old. Black History Month Spirit Week, Black History Month Musical. You will hear more information from this wonderful young lady, Ms. Thompson. She gives leadership in our music department, and the kids thoroughly enjoyed their Black History Month musical. And we actually have another musical that's going to be coming up. It's not on the slide, but it will be forthcoming. We will let you know when that takes place, so you can come and visit and check us out. Okay, I don't know how that one ended up that way. Read Across America Spirit Week. Okay. I'm not sure what happened. Didn't look like this earlier before coming. Okay, and these are a lot of retired teachers, some people that are still here, and retired teachers that came back to read to our students. Washington Athletics, volleyball, cheerleaders, girls basketball, and boys basketball championships, I will say, for volleyball and boys basketball. And then, of course, we had our cross-country meets that we took place in as well. And then we had Week of the Young Child. This was in conjunction with Elior, our food service company. This was food that was provided for the students. So it was a little different. They didn't get the McDonald's, but they did get the opportunity to sit down. And more importantly, the parents had an opportunity to see what the food tastes like. And they thoroughly enjoyed the activity. I don't know what's going on, why it's upside down. Keep going. Forthcoming events, Loteria Mexican Bingo Night, Science Fair, Award Ceremony, Field Day, 6th grade promotion ceremony, another spring concert, and much, much more. If you didn't get an opportunity on your way in, there's also artwork by our art teacher, David Labarsky. Then we move into STEM, and we'll let the video speak for itself. It's not on there. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on with this slide that was sent.
The PDF, right?
Is that why?
Oh, they turned it into a PDF.
Okay, so because it's a PDF, the video won't show, but we will move forward with the musical presentation.
A flute? How do you play it? Okay, so you have to make sounds inside of the hole? Okay, can you make different sounds? How do you think yours is different from a regular flute?
It's cardboard.
Okay, and it's a prototype, right? So it's just a model. How would it work differently than a regular flute?
It's like a little deeper than the flute.
Okay.
Like it sounds deeper.
Okay. Brandon, what did you make? You made a what?
A pencil holder.
Okay. How is your pencil holder different than a regular pencil holder? Okay. Thank you for sharing. What does your controller pad do?
It's full of batteries, and then you just plug it up, and you don't have to go to the store and buy batteries.
Oh, okay. Are they rechargeable batteries?
Yes.
Okay. And then there's a place to store all the batteries that you bring in. Awesome. I love it. Thank you.
It's different from other purses because it's made from 100% eco-friendly materials. Like normal things that would be in your house, like paper towel holders, pipe cleaners, tape, and it's good for the environment
And
because
it's pretty fancy too, isn't it?
Yeah.
I like it. Thank you. What kinds of things did you need to find? Because you could find a glove.
like a grip glove, like to catch a football, very good, very good.
Okay.
So like you go to football,
Okay.
Yep.
today?
Miss Ward.
You made a sword, okay. Student invention is a sword. How is your sword different from any other sword?
It has 3 spikes.
It has 3 spikes. And how would you use your sword? How would you use your sword?
In war.
In war, okay. So how is it different from any other sword?
It's stronger.
It's stronger, okay.
It
And
has
what-
3 spikes.
Okay, and 3 spikes, so you can use it as multiple kinds of weapons, huh? Okay. What materials would you use for your design, for your prototype?
Well, in reality, it would be iron, but the way I made it was cardboard and tape.
Okay, so what kinds of materials do you think you would use for a real sword? Would you use some kind of metal?
You gotta melt something.
What did you say?
You gotta melt something.
Oh, you have to melt something, okay. All right. Okay, well, thank you for sharing your design. Thank you.
At this time, is there any questions or comments from the audience with regard to that presentation? Hearing none, is there any questions or comments from the board? I just want to say great job. Thank you. Item 5, the consent agenda. Is there any questions or comments regarding the approval of the consent agenda? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
Mr. President, I make motion to approve our consent agenda 502, 503, 504, 505, and 506.
Motion made by trustee Gomez. Is there a second?
Yeah, Mr. President, I have a question about this personnel report here,
There's needs a second first.
You have to second.
and I'll second it. I'll second the motion.
Second made by trustee Gibson King.
Yeah, I have a
You
question.
have the floor. Go ahead.
Thank you. Number 3272, on the personnel report, it's my understanding that this position was not posted, Mr. Ambrego.
3-2 what?
3272,
Did you say 3272?
yes.
Yeah, I believe those are internal positions. When they're internal positions, sometimes we just move staff from one position to another in the district.
But I don't think that's how that go, though.
Yeah, in those cases, we don't have to post them,
You don't have to post,
no.
okay.
Is there any other comments or questions
I have
from the
a-
board?
Excuse me, I have a question.
Trustee Hernandez Orange.
In regards to the claim docket, page 6, check 112572. I know we are in the midst
Number
of,
you said?
112572.
Do you have a page number?
Yep, page 6.
6, okay.
And I know we're in the midst of, there's discussions of a new floor, so I was just, I don't think that's how much it should cost. It probably should cost more than that, but again, I don't know if that's exactly what it is or not, so.
Dr. Abreu,
I'm sorry,
you want to see it?
what item is it, are we talking about?
It is on page
Oh,
6.
on the claim dockets, I will probably need some help with that. CFO, if you could help us with that, please?
This is the partial payment for Washington's gym elementary. When we had the bad weather, we had pipes to break in our gym, and it ruined all our gym floor. So this was the partial payment of the gym being fixed. Also, we have some mechanical issues that had to be fixed also. This was claimed up under an insurance claim. The insurance claim took care of all of it but $25,000 because that's our deductible.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Yes.
Trustee Gibson King?
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Yes. Item 6, new business, 6.01, approval of Avid products and services. Dr. Abrego?
Yes, this is an agreement between Avid College Readiness Systems and the School City of Chicago. This is ongoing. I believe this is the 17th year we've done this. It has been reviewed by attorney, and basically it helps our students with reading skills, and it has various levels. It also provides online assistance for our teachers, and basically prepares our kids for college and career readiness.
Is there any questions or comments from the audience regarding the approval of Avid products and services? Yes, ma'am.
I don't understand why we 6.01.
Attorney Harris? you want to-
So, yes, Mr. President, if I could explain?
Sure.
All right, so the purpose of the board adopting a consent agenda is to make the meeting move along faster. It allows all the items that are listed in Section 5 of the agenda to be approved with one vote. So if there's a motion for approval of the consent agenda in a second, it's approval of all those items. And if you notice, Trustee Gomez mentioned 5.02, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That's what he was doing. He was getting approval for everything on the consent agenda all at once. So for future meetings, if you hear when the board chair asks for comment on the consent agenda, and you have a question about one of the items that's included within the consent agenda, that would be the time for you to ask that.
Any other questions or comments from the audience? Can I get approval from the board at this time?
Mr. President, I move for approval of 6.01.
Okay. Motion made by Trustee Gomez. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second made by Trustee Gibson King. Is there any questions or comments from the board?
Chairman?
Trustee Hernandez Orange.
In regards to the Avid products, yes, we've had it for 17 years. I just want to know the correlation, how it will correlate with Beyond Textbooks, since that's the main core that we are, I guess, pushing. So how do those two work together?
Ms. Hondas, can you help me with that, please?
Good evening. So as of right now, we're using Avid for our students to give them more support as it pertains to getting them college and career ready. It's more of those soft skills and more of like if you think about teachers helping our students with the things that they'll need in life as it relates to more of those soft skills. So right now, it's in the school, all teachers use it. It's curriculum that teachers can use and resources that teachers can use. And right now, it's really being focused in on that middle level student to give them more support. But next year, we plan on implementing it with all freshmen in the freshman academy and making sure that our students are ready for college and careers and getting them ready for high school so that they find success in high school.
So we haven't had this, I thought they started Avid in the junior high at one point, where they had some types of, I guess, like you said, soft skills in regards to career readiness. So it was not?
Currently, it is not in the middle school, but that is something that we can look into. I met with, being new to the district, I met with the Avid program. I met with students, I met with teachers, and it was an overwhelming response of continuing the partnership with Avid.
Yeah, no, I know everyone's total support of it. I just wanted to make sure how, one, it correlates to this Beyond Textbooks core, as well as, again, I thought it was already in the junior high because it used to be. And I know freshmen, they were all, you would go into those programs, so.
Right. Yeah, that's something we'll look into for the middle school as well. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Yes.
Trustee Gibson King?
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Yes. 6.02, approval of adjustments to 2022-2023 current school calendar. Dr. Abrego.
Yes, thank you, Board President. This is an adjustment to the School City of Chicago 2022-23 school calendar year. Basically, all we did was the e-learning day was moved from May 17th to May 2nd, so that students are not in session while voting is taking place in our schools.
Is there any questions or comments from the audience with regards to the approval of the adjustment of 2022-2023 current school calendar? Hearing none, do I hear a motion from the board to
Mr.
approve
President, I
6.02?
I make a motion, Mr. President, to approve the calendar.
Motion made by trustee Gibson King,
Second.
second by trustee Gomez. Is there any questions or comment from the board?
Mr. President,
Trustee Gomez.
just as a reminder, that we did approve Juneteenth as a holiday. It's not reflected on our calendar at this point in time, so moving forward, if we could add that to the calendar.
Okay. Is
We'll
there,
take care of that. I thought it was already on this calendar, but
Yeah, I don't see
Yeah.
it. No.
any other questions or comments from the board?
Mr. President, I'm sorry, Mr.
Yes.
President,
Trustee Gomez.
Attorney Harris, would we need to add that to it, or is it just administrative?
No, I think this calendar was intended to only cover the school year itself, and on the overall district calendar, that one, it should be reflected there. I don't have it in front of me.
Discussed.
Is it?
Thank you.
All right. Madam Secretary, roll call?
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Yes.
Trustee Gibson King?
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Yes. 6.03, approval of rental of former Kerry Gosh Elementary by EPA. Dr. Abrego?
yes, again, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency has completed all the required forms to use the auditorium of the former Kerry Gosh Elementary School, and I believe this is something they do each year.
Is there any questions or comments from the audience with regards to the approval of rental of former Kerry Gosh Elementary by EPA? Yes, ma'am.
It's just a one-day, it's May 13th from 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock.
Any other questions from the audience? Hearing none, do I hear a motion for the approval of 6.03?
Mr. President,
Trustee Gomez.
just a point of order. I was just texted that the link to the live stream is not working. I'd like to make a motion to approve 6.03.
Do I hear a second?
Yeah, I'll second it. I got a question on it.
A second made by trustee Gibson King, a motion made by trustee Gomez. Trustee Gibson King, you have the floor.
Yeah, this is the Kerry Gosh, this is in West Calumet. Is this the Kerry Gosh we're speaking of?
Correct.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Chairman Rodriguez,
Trustee Hernandez Orange.
do we know the reason for the auditorium rental? It doesn't say that on here, it just says rental the auditorium.
What I saw in here is that it's a public meeting, I believe they have to have, and they do that each year.
Just out of curiosity, did we explain to them, like, what is involved with the rental and how much, and as well as, are we going to ask them to provide security?
Yes, they've taken care of that, I believe. It says they need the doors open by 8 o'clock. They understand that they have to take care of those other requirements.
So then security was part of it? Security, and maintenance are all part of it, correct?
I'm reviewing it right now real quick, but it looks like they have all the forms, yes. And I think that even when they speak with our secretary, they have to have everything in order, correct? With the,
Right.
yeah.
It was in an email, and I didn't attach the email.
So the email, it stated that they were going to have to pay for maintenance as well as for security on that day?
Quite sure about, I know maintenance. I know that it's like a $1,700 check that they're sending.
Okay.
So,
Attorney Harris?
I'm not sure.
Yes?
With I'm not exactly sure what the meetings consist of, but it's usually that we have someone on standby for the, protection of the building, as well as to make sure everything's okay at a meeting, as well as maintenance is involved. So I just want to make sure that we're properly charging if need be, and that they know what the requirements are for the use of the facility.
I can take a look at this with Diane after the meeting, just to make sure that's all in order. I'm not familiar with whether or not they were required in advance to have security or not, or all the particulars. I wasn't part of the process. I do happen to know that these meetings are annual meetings that involve public forums regarding environmental matters, but that doesn't necessarily answer your question. I get what you're asking, I just don't know the answer to it.
I'm sorry, I keep forgetting. Chairman Rodriguez, I'd like to make a secondary motion to table this item until we get the proper information.
Is that a form of a motion?
Yes, I'm making a motion to table the item. Seeing as it's not until May 10th, we have a meeting before that, so then we could just get whatever's needed.
A secondary motion was made by trustee Hernandez Orge. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second made by trustee Gibson King. Is there any discussions onto the second motion? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gomez?
No.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Yes.
Trustee Gibson King?
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Yes. Now to the actual motion, 6.03, approval of the rental of former Carrie Gosh. I'm sorry. So is that, because her secondary motion passed,
It's
so
tabled.
we can go ahead and move on to the next?
It's
Move to the
tabled.
next
So
item,
we
yes.
tabled, okay, so item 6.04, approval of Harrison intervention. Dr. Bregel?
yes, this is for Harrison Elementary. They're going to have a person, an interventionist, work with their classroom teachers, with their administrators, to plan remediation and instruction for identified students who need help in math and language arts. And I believe this is all in, to improve the school, part of their school improvement plan.
Is there any questions or comments from the audience with regards to the approval of Harrison interventionist? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to approve?
Mr. President, I make a motion to approve 6.04.
Okay, motion made by trustee Gomez. Is there a second? I'll second that motion. Any questions or comments from the board?
Chairman Rodriguez?
Trustee Hernandez Orange.
If I'm correct, these interventionists are, and maybe I'm wrong, Ms. Simmons might have to refresh my memory. So we have some interventionists that are actually within the budget, or is it all, it's all out of title funds? Okay, but, so the other interventionists, they are. They're all through title. Okay, that was all mine. That's all.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange.
Yes.
Trustee Gibson King.
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez.
Yes. Item 6.05, approval of federal funds documentation for I believe it's shredding.
Right.
Dr. Abrego.
Yes, this is an item, Special Education Director, Ms. Pohl, is asking for permission to shred items that were used for an audit. I believe after a certain amount of years, you can dispose of those. So those from 6 years ago.
Is there any questions or comments from the audience regarding the approval of federal funds documentations for shredding? Yes, sir.
7 years and older. But they're copies. I wanted to clarify, they're copies. We have, all of the documents are online, they're on a drive, they're in email, and they are, I'm making sure I have everything, with financial. These are just copies, they're hand copies that we always create, but and have been audited. All of them have been audited, so they're 7 years and older, and they're copies. I wanted to clarify that.
Okay. Is there any other questions or comments from the audience?
All of them are 7 years or older. You have the
It's within the policy.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other questions from the audience? Yes, ma'am.
These are all budget funds, but they're all, like I said, they're copies. This is not the original. The originals
I know
are,
that, but I'm just saying the funds.
they're all,
Is this, you're saying federal funds documentation that is coming out of federal money? Is that what you're saying?
no, these are old documents, that's all
Just the
they are.
documents
Yes,
itself?
There,
Yeah, copies of the
we
documents.
have shredders here in the building that will take care of the shredding. We do not send it out for a contract.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I didn't.
Yeah,
didn't-
okay.
Any other questions from the audience? Hearing none, do I hear a motion from the board?
Mr. President, I move for approval of 6.05.
Motion made by trustee Gomez. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second made by trustee Gibson King. Is there any questions or comments from the board?
Mr. President,
Trustee Gomez.
I know some people in the audience are aware of the requirements on activities like this. There are other activities that generally, when they happen here in the school district, they all, whatever it is this school district does requires board approval. So I just want to make a comment to the audience that this is one of those items that requires board approval.
Any other questions or comments?
Mr. President, I don't believe that's a member of the board.
Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gomez.
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange.
Yes.
Trustee Gibson King.
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez.
Yes. 6.06, approval of 3% increase for non-certified, non-union administrators and security. Dr. Abrego.
Yes, this item, I think, was on the agenda earlier, and it was tabled. And I'm not sure if we have sufficient information to move forward or not. If I'm correct, I think this item is going to be discussed this week.
Is there any questions or comments from the audience with regards to the approval of 3% increase for non-certified, non-union administrators and security? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to, I'm assuming to table? Is that what you want to do?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll make a motion. Actually, I'll entertain a motion. Is there a motion on the floor to table this item 6.06?
Mr. President, I make a motion to approve to table this item 6.06.
Okay, motion made by trustee Gomez. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second made by trustee Gibson King. Is there any questions or comments?
Chairman Rodriguez.
Trustee Hernandez Orange.
Well, I wanted to first correct the statement that you stated. It was not tabled last week, because if it was, it'd been an old business. The second thing is that I figured this was going to be removed because there was just, I guess, talk about you guys removing it prior to, but I'm glad you guys did proper procedure and actually did it on the floor rather than not. And I guess my concern and my question is, we had 2 weeks from the last time this was on here, and I'm not understanding why we did not have an executive session to discuss this. I'm not understanding why, what is the, I guess, concern as to why we're not giving, again, the increase in pay to those who are non-certified, to those who are non-union, to the administrators and security. If we stated 2 weeks ago that we were going to do what we had to do to make sure that we had all this information ready to go to allow people to get their raises. Again, we are taking a subgroup and we're making them different from everyone else, which is unfair.
Does anybody want to address Ms. Hernandez-Orange, Trustee Hernandez-Orange, with regards to tabling this matter? I believe what I saw was, I know that there were some questions and concerns with regards to this particular item. In its entirety, what I saw, including myself, what I saw that it was all pretty much fragmented in the forms, didn't know who was getting what as far as the 3%. So I believe our CFO, as well as
I'm sorry,
our
can you explain?
CFO, as well as the superintendent, was able to see if we can put this on a fast track for an exec session. Dr. Brego?
Yeah, that is correct. I think it has to be thoroughly discussed in executive session. I know that people are still asking many questions. I wasn't able to answer all of them. When I went back and started researching, I started to find that I believe our teachers have to earn their raises. And basically, I think what we're trying to understand is how do people earn their raises that are the non-certified, non-union administrators of security. And that's basically it. We're just trying to understand that. Once we do, we can let our public know and then move forward.
Yeah.
Chairman.
And to me, and not to interrupt, sorry, but I'm going to always keep this on a fast track. This ain't something that's just going to go away. So I want to make sure that it's brought up. And of course, on the last discussion, and even states in a letter that was presented to me that a executive session should have been talked about first prior to bringing it on to regular session. So yeah, so these are things that I saw, and I wanted to make sure that Dr. Brego was able to at least give one more opportunity at an exec session. This will be, and again, this will be on a fast track, so.
So Chairman, can I?
Go ahead.
A question.
I'm sorry.
So 2 weeks ago, it was stated that there was going to be an executive session.
Correct.
To discuss, but I guess we didn't fast track to get that meeting done, so that in the 2 week span, we were able to get this approved. I also stated at the last meeting that I do agree with Dr. Abrego that we need to have some type of criteria. I understand that, but the thought was that it would already be taken care of. The third thing is that teachers, the stipend given from the state is what if they're effective, highly effective, that's what they get. But everyone overall, correct me if I'm wrong, and I might be wrong, they receive the increase overall. So I think Attorney Harris, when this is presented, we really need to be very careful in regards to what we're doing to our employees because of the fact that we're treating them different from everyone else. I think we just made that the superintendent just made that statement.
Any other questions from the board? Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez-Orange?
Absolutely not.
Trustee Gibson King?
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Yes. Item 6.07, approval of amendment to the present learning contract. Dr. Brego?
Yes, this is Special Education Department, had a contract with Present Learning, and I believe the contract was for $62,000. Unfortunately, the company was unable to fulfill their requirements. So because they did not fulfill our requirements, I think, the Special Education Director is asking to reduce their contract to $10,000.
Is there any questions or comments from the audience with regards to approving of amendment to the present-day learning contract? Hearing none, do I hear a motion from the board?
Mr. President, I move for approval of 6.07.
Trustee Gomez makes a motion. Is there a second? I'll second the motion. Is there any questions or comments?
Mr. President,
Trustee Gomez?
this is for Attorney Harris. So this basically undoes the first contract or agreement with them?
It does. It takes down the financial obligation from 62,000, the original amount, down to 10,000,
And I
but
don't
covers
have
the same period of time.
Sorry. Yep, sorry about that. I don't have it in front of me, but was there a clause in the original
That allow,
contract that allowed us
yes.
to do this?
Mhm.
Okay.
And this particular amendment too calls for both parties to sign off on it in writing. So.
Is there any other questions or comments from the board? Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Yes.
Trustee Gibson King?
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Yes. Item 6.08, approval of East Chicago Foundation to use Washington Elementary Auditorium and Cafeteria. Dr. Brego.
Yes, the foundation is asking to use Washington Elementary's gym. In their original letter, they stated they wanted to use it on Saturday, April 29th. However, after the fact, they've asked for May 10th. So I don't know if we want to make that adjustment here today or put it on the May 1st for, bring this back for May, the next meeting. But they want to alter the date from April 29th to May 10th.
Is there any questions or comments from the audience with regarding the approval of the East Chicago Foundation to use Washington Elementary Auditorium and Cafeteria? Hearing none, do I hear a motion from the board to approve item 6.08 as presented?
Yeah, Mr. President, I'll make a motion to approve this.
Motion made by trustee Gibson King. Is there a second?
Mr. President, I'll second it, but I do have a,
Question?
your comment was to approve it as presented, but the superintendent identified as a May 10th date. Can we just redo the motion to add May 10th as the date as requested by the Foundations of East Chicago?
Yeah. Okay. So, so the motion that's made is basically adding the May 10th date to the approval, correct?
Correct.
Are you okay with that?
Yes, I'm
Trustee Gibson King?
Mr. Chairman, if I could,
Uh,
I would
let me-
also recommend that you add a condition that they resubmit their application with the correct, with the updated information as a condition of your approval today.
Okay. Can I get a second first?
You have, you
Second
want
here.
to make that.
Second by trustee Gomez. So in other words, May 10th with the condition of reapplying or with the contract.
Yes, they will change your
The con-
information.
Okay. Trustee Gibson King, you're okay with that?
Yes, I'm fine with that.
And trustee Gomez, you're okay with that?
Yes.
All right, okay, so is there any other questions or comments from the board?
Chairman, I just want to clarify. So we are approving the
Trustee Hernandez
motion to approve for the May 10th date with the condition of having them submit their paperwork.
Resubmitting their paperwork, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct. Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Yes.
Trustee Gibson King?
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Yes. Item 7, Subcommittee, 7.01, Policy, Board Vice President, Trustee Gibson King. Any reports at this time? I'm sorry. Actually, it's Trustee Gomez. Is there any reports at this time?
Not at this time. The Vice President and I will schedule a date for a new policy meeting. We do have a few that we're trying to catch up on, and one that has been brought to my attention more recently is our ethics policy and how that comes into play with recent issues that have come in front of the board. So we'll be scheduling that very soon here.
7.02, is there, trustee Gibson King, is there anything to report at this time under finance?
No, Mr. President, there's nothing to report at this time.
Item 8, superintendent remark, Dr. Abrego.
Yes, the most important one is that all schools are testing. We'll be testing students in grades 3 to 8 on the Indiana iLearns for the next 2 weeks. So we're going to ask all parents, please make sure that your children or child gets plenty of rest, gets a good night's sleep. And then after each day, just ask your son or your daughter how they did in school and how their day is going. Also, very important, on April 19th will be an e-learning day. Students don't report to school. They log on to get their lessons from their teachers, and that is from 8 to 11. Also, on April 19th is very important because that's kindergarten roundup. So all elementary schools will be registering students from 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock. And that is for students who will be 5 years old as of August the 1st. And also, we have summer school registration that is going to be going on in our schools, and that is for students in grades kindergarten through 12th grade. And there are 2 types of summer school. One is mandatory, and that means that the schools or the district selects the students, but we also have that choice for the parents. So if they want their children to go to summer school, they can also do that, register their children. Those are all the comments I have.
Okay. Number 9, trustee remarks. I'm going to go ahead and start it off, and then I'll refer to the board members. Good evening again. I'm writing to address an ongoing internal investigation that the superintendent and I have conducted, along with updating our district attorney regarding the removal of the Lysol wipes. In January 2022, we received over 200 Lysol disinfectant wipes for our school district and surrounding community school districts and our health partner, East Chicago Health Department. This donation was given to us by Teachers Treasures located in Indianapolis, Indiana. On April 13th, I received numerous phone calls about a situation which I posted on ECTV News, which was on Facebook, that Lysol wipes were being distributed outside of our district. And it was alleged that Lysol wipes were provided to seniors as a donation from School City of East Chicago. On April 14, 2023, I called the superintendent to check if he had any knowledge or have given any approval of the Lysol wipes being removed from our districts and given to the city for distribution at the senior living facility. He stated he had not. This morning, the superintendent and I, along with several administrators, went to the transportation facility where the Lysol wipes were stored. In order to have any items moved from the location from one area to another within our district, a work order must be filled out and approved before it is given to the worker to complete his or her assignment. In this case, it seems that a work order was not made, and the items were still distributed. As per our investigation we have conducted today, number 1, yes, the items were donated to the School City of East Chicago, which is School City of East Chicago property, by a charitable organization which explain how we can distribute the items. Number 2, yes, once approved by this board or by the superintendent, in this case the superintendent, it is the property of the School City of East Chicago. No work order was created. Number 3, no work order was created to allow any circulation of these wipes to various community schools or outside entity, as what was stated by Teachers Treasures of Indiana. I took the liberty also of emailing Lysol Company in regards to the life and the disinfectant wipes. Their response was, the shelf life of the disinfectant wipes can vary depending on the brand and storage condition. Typically, disinfectant wipes have a shelf life of 2 years from the date of manufacture, However, it is best to check the expiration date on the packaging before use. This is my report, my updated report, and it will be uploaded to my Facebook for any other organizations who would like to have a copy of this. I want to thank you guys again for your attention in this serious matter. Next, Trustee Gibson King.
I don't have anything at this time, Mr. President.
Okay, Trustee Hernandez Orange.
We're going out of order today. We're going out of order today. Usually it's Trustee Gomez, Trustee Smith, myself, and Trustee Gibson King. We're going out of order today.
We've been.
I just want to make sure.
No, we're not. Go ahead.
Okay, so first and foremost, I definitely want to say, just seeing as we have a full house full of political leaders or possible political leaders, I wanted to welcome every single one of you. I'm happy that you're able to see that our awesome students presented to us, so that's very important. I invite each and every single one of you guys who are finally seeing what's going on in the school district to come in and to volunteer at our schools. I guarantee that every single principal would love to have you guys there, whether it's reading a book or whether it's just showing your face at the Special Persons Day. I guarantee they would love to see that. With that, I wanted to just address attack on my integrity and my character. Unfortunately, it stems from an incident regarding donated wipes to the city of East Chicago. My goal has always been to do what is right for students and the community. While I never asked for a donation, this donation of wipes, as well as a distribution, was a way to put students and community first. We made sure families had the opportunity to receive wipes during the Easter Drive on our Easter drive-through on May 1st, and the leftover donated wipes were then given to senior citizens who did not or could not attend the event. We even took it a step further and donated wipes to different departments within the city of East Chicago. Because the continuous traffic that comes in and out of offices, wipes would be used to help with cleaning. Distribution of wipes to the community is something that has been done since 2021, when we received those wipes. Donations have benefited churches in our community. They've benefited private schools in our community. They even benefited some of the semi-state wrestling goers who are not from the city of East Chicago, yet they took them home and took them back to their cities. They have also benefited the Carmelite homes. They benefited senior citizen buildings because in the first distribution to senior citizens, the senior citizen buildings were done by the school city of East Chicago. And they've also donated other families that are not school city of East Chicago students, yet they received them. Rather than allow the wipes to dry because they're from 2021, giving it back to the community seemed like the better idea. While board approval does not need to be given for the donation distribution because it's a surplus good that is on policy number 7310, my suggestion is policy members actually look at that. I'm sure some school board members would have loved the photo opportunity. Then this would have been a different story. Actually, it would not be a story. I do ask that time is spent on drafting policy on distribution of donations for suggesting that the superintendent actually have established some type of internal controls or procedures regarding distribution of donations, rather than making accusations that are completely untrue. I also hope that you, as a chairman, be a leader and not allow board members to, one, coerce you or allow other board members to speak on topics on behalf of the school board, because you are the main representative, not anyone else. With that, I always end on a good note, as you guys know me. I wanted to address this past weekend's autism walk, which unfortunately we did not give out wipes because we had a whole pallet ready to go, but because of the incident on Friday, we did not give out to our community. But anyways, the Mayor Anthony Copeland Autism Walk was a joint effort between Mayor Anthony Copeland, Parks and Recreation Department, and the School City of East Chicago. We had over 500 registered individuals, with about 400 actually walking. The rest were either volunteers, vendors, or just spectators. The goal of the event was to bring advocacy, support, and education to autism families in our community. We did just that. The smiles from students to vendors was just amazing. The information that was given to the residents regarding waivers for their child was definitely needed. Thank you to the School City of East Chicago for partnering with the City of East Chicago to bridge the continued gap that needs to close. A very special shout out to the schools that I did recognize, Block Middle School, Central High School, Harrison, I messed that one up, and Lincoln. Those last two were probably the biggest groups there. But overall, thank you for participating. That's all.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes, I attended the Lakeshore Chamber of Commerce dinner on Friday evening with President Rodriguez and Vice President Gibson King. Carolyn Bandura was named the Teacher of the Year. She's from East Chicago. I believe she's one of yours. And so I'd like to congratulate her on behalf of the board and share the good news. And share the good news with the community. A couple weeks ago, I did meet with representatives from the police department, and I know some of them had mentioned that they were concerned about the rise of school shootings, and so Dr. Brego, I've not had an opportunity to share this with you, but they would like to have an active shooter drill in our schools and go through that scenario and update our active shooter plan. So if we could arrange that opportunity for them, I think they would appreciate that. Finally, the comments that Chairman Rodriguez made, I think that those comments should be extended beyond his individual Facebook page to also include ECTV's page and our own School City page and every social media that we have, to have a statement by both the board president and the superintendent of schools on this issue. It's certainly at minimum an ethical issue, as I mentioned previously, and at worst a criminal activity. So the board has an obligation to oversee our budget, to oversee our assets, and that's what this board is going to do. And if there's a consequence to be paid by one or more individuals, so be it. That concludes my remarks, Chairman.
Next, we have Superintendent Forum, Trustee Harris. Attorney Harris.
Superintendent forum? No, it's public forum.
Public forum, right. So the public forum is an opportunity for the public to participate in the public meeting. It is not a question and answer session. However, you will be afforded with 3 minutes. Please state your name. Please refrain from any abusive language towards the audience, the staff, or the board. Thank you.
Trustee Gomez?
Mr. President, I'm going to start with Reverend James C. Wade.
Thank you so very much. I appreciate 3 minutes, but I need 5 hours. Attorney, we work on the board together at the Health Department. To our superintendent and to the president and all of the board. I met with the superintendent several weeks ago, and I also met with Dr. Mitchell. And my wife and I wanted to stand so you see who she is. You know me, but I want you to know her. We've been married 60 years. And I'm excited about that. But what I'm excited about also, we began a movement for prayer. And I heard you all make all the announcements and publicity, but I want y'all to start publicizing our prayer. We have prayer every Monday at 8 o'clock at Central High. Can y'all say that after me? Every Monday? At 8 o'clock, we have prayer. And when we pray right, you won't need all these guns, won't need all these drills. Our children need to go to school and learn. And I'd like to have a private meeting, that's my request, with the board. That's what I would like. I'd like a private meeting so I can share with you all what it is that God gave me. I don't have this much sense. God gave me a plan for the schools of East Chicago to eliminate and have a safe school where our children can go in safety. That's my plan. Can I get a okay, talking to the chairman and our superintendent, he's giving me an ordinance. I want to talk to the whole board. I want to talk to everybody. I've tried to get Mr. Gomez, and I called him several times, but hadn't returned my call, right?
Oh, no.
No, you haven't returned my call. All right, so let's go on to that. So I want y'all, and I need all y'all's numbers, so when I call you, call me back. Councilman Orange, she's been with us at the schools, but I want y'all to know, it's about prayer. When we pray, God will give an answer. Monday, 8 o'clock a.m., Central High School, rain, shine, sleet or snow. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Trustee Gomez?
The next speaker is Melvin Mobley.
Melvin Mobley. I just had a couple of questions. One is in regards to the Lysol wipes. I heard a minute ago that, well, first of all, the school city and the city of East Chicago are supposed to be two separate entities. So my question on that issue is, what other board member, did all board members agree to the distribution of the wipes that were for the school city? Or was it just a few? Because I've received a lot of information and people have been calling about and showing pictures of a board member delivering the wipes to the senior buildings. So my question was simply, while this was going on, did the other board members know or approve of it? I think someone brought that up earlier. And the second question was, you mentioned earlier about, I have to, well, laugh about that, but you mentioned about a 3% raise for the non-union security people. Are the security people at Central High School unionized? So none of the security people in the school district are unionized. Well, my question on that is, how can you have a school city and you have security in every school, and the security is not taken care of by being unionized? I mean, a 3% raise, 3% raise, is that like in the bracket for the cost of living? I mean, that's 3%. Why not 15% raise? I mean, I just threw a number out there, but it's up to you guys sitting up there. Those were the two questions that I had. Thank you. And I had I'm sorry, but I also was, I don't know, this was dropped off to me, I think it was yesterday. And when I saw it, I mean, yes, the mayors and one of the board members are delivering the wipes, but that gets back to my question. There's nothing wrong with helping the community, but as long as the other board members agree to it. That way you're agreeing to it as a body of one, the board. That will stop the individual attacks without the correct information. And I would like to leave with this, what Rev just said. It's one thing to have prayer, but if you're not going to do the right thing, you already crossed yourself out because God already knows your heart. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Gilda Orange.
I went to the seniors, which I wanted to give back. And since it was such a big deal about these wipes, and trying to say Gilda Orange, 3909 Evergreen Street, and trying to say that they were stolen. You guys got that all over Facebook. They were stolen. Vanessa Orange, as everybody knows, is my daughter-in-law. She don't have to steal a thing. They were given, and somebody here gave them to them. They wouldn't have been able to go to the bus depot and pick them up and take them out of there without somebody seeing and knowing that they was there. You talk about integrity. I know Trustee Gomez, Chairman Rodriguez, you guys called Bill Dolan on Saturday. He told me that you guys called. And you
President,
reported this to the
point of order.
newspaper. You can point of order.
The attorney had already
No.
asked for speakers not to mention names.
Well, you guys
I'm
called.
going to
You
ask
should-
you conclude your time.
You shouldn't have called.
The next speaker is
but-
Carlisle
but you-
Edwards.
But that's wrong, Jesse.
Carlisle Edwards,
That's
please.
wrong. He can come on up, but that is wrong. You should have been worried about the $10,000.
you violated the board's policy. Please sit down.
$10,000,
Please sit down.
credit card.
Please sit down. Please sit
audit
down.
From
Attorney Harris. Please sit down.
2017.
Please sit
that
down.
you guys on this
Please sit
board
down.
did.
Councilwoman.
That's what you should have been worried
Sit
about.
down.
Let's move on
Thank
to the
you.
next speaker. Next speaker.
Carlisle Edwards.
Okay, my name is Carlisle Edwards. I reside at 532 Riggin Place. A lot of you know who I am. To begin with, I've had over 35 years experience working with nonprofits and serving on the school boards. There is typically a protocol established. Part of that protocol that's established follows federal guidelines and laws. If a donor donates anything like product or cash for a specific purpose to a specific organization, it is supposed to be used for that purpose. So, if the wipes, back in this, were donated to the school city for use in schools, and there's a protocol established that they cannot be distributed without a work order, then therein lies a problem. Another problem is if the gift was approved by the entire board, then in order for it to be accepted to be used in any other manner, it would still have to be approved by the entire board. If I donate money to a foundation or to an organization, and I have it for a specific purpose, it has to be used for that specific purpose. Now, I have no problems with the intent of distributing to our community if the donation was intended for that purpose. If it was not intended for that purpose, then it needs to be withheld and distributed according to the purpose that it was donated. That would be the same way with churches, same way with any other nonprofit out there. If you donate money to a nonprofit and you say you want it done this way, it has to be done that way. And in the school board, if it's donated to the schools, and it is done and is donated for the purpose of use in the schools, and the board approves it, then the board has to approve any exceptions through that period.
Trustee Gomez?
Chairman Rodriguez, if I could have a member of our staff call security so that we don't have any other outbursts here. Would that be okay?
Madam Secretary, you want to move? Let's go to the next, next person. Madam Secretary, can you just have security be in the area? Thank you.
I'm saying, I'm on the thing.
Trustee Gomez, next individual.
Yes, the next speaker is Helen Steinbeck.
That makes me feel all kinds of ways, Justin.
He called you for me? Helen Steinbach, 5207 East 73rd Avenue, Maryville, Indiana. I'm going to say two things. First thing, today, it's a sad day in history in the Indiana State Legislature because Senate Bill 486 was passed, and now the corporations are no longer required to have any discussion at all with the bargaining unit. And so that presents a problem because up until now, we've had very great discussions. We've made very good decisions. We've had time to go over things and plan for things and things like that. So my hope is that even though it's no longer going to be required, hopefully maybe the governor might not sign it, I doubt it, but that we will still continue to have discussion because it accomplishes many things when we work together as a team. My second thing is I represent the teachers, and we negotiate our contract in September because that's required by law. And to address the question of one of the trustees earlier, our raises are only given to teachers that are considered effective or highly effective because the Indiana legislatures have decided that they get to decide that. And so even though we have teachers that work all year round and work hard and try to do their job, they don't get that raise if they are not rated effective or highly effective. The non-union personnel that work as our security guards and our deans are not represented by a union. And it's unfortunate that, again, we have another 2 weeks before they might get that raise. So Linda Randolph has stood up here and said, when you know better, do better. So I hope that fast track is fast.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes. I can't read this handwriting. I believe it's, this could be Vanessa Hernandez Orange, I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's me. Good evening, school board. I like to always address from this side when I have to. But by the way, I am Vanessa Hernandez Orange, and I live at 1620 Senator Drive. I actually live there. With that, I wanted to start off by stating your policy 7312, just the disposition of surplus property. School board requires the superintendent to review the property of the corporation. It does not state that the school board in its entirety needs to approve if something ends up being distributed. That's why we need to look at that policy in order for you to make that different or better to make it, I guess, according to what your accusations are. The second thing is, like I stated to the board chair on Saturday morning, if you would like, I will go up to every single citizen door and ask them back for their wipes. I never once, as a park board director, ever asked for any donations. I received a phone call because this is what happens every year. The school city partakes in events that we have at the School City of East Chicago, with the City of East Chicago. Last year, they donated books, they donated backpacks, they donated other items. For Christmas, they've donated just their time and physically being there. This year, the donation was the disposable wipes. After we had some left over, I made sure to give the call to the CFO, who ended up giving me those wipes. When that happened, I said, can I give this to the senior citizens as well as to our departments? That statement was a yes. With that being said, it's not something that should have gone to the public or Jesse the paper, I'm sorry, Trustee the paper, or it should have been a discussion between the chairman and myself if there was a question. With that being said, I do hope that before you make accusations, or anyone does via Facebook, I hope that you understand and know the correct information prior to anything actually going out. Again, I'm an advocate for the community. I'm an advocate for the senior citizens. I'd rather those wipes go out to the senior citizens rather than let them dry, because they're from 2021. But if you guys would all like, we could all go together to the senior citizen building and we could say that the school board wants them back. Thank you very much.
I'd like to address the board. Obviously, item policy 7310, disposition of surplus properties. I believe Carla was mentioning earlier. It states that the school board requires the superintendent to review all properties of the corporation periodically and to dispose of any materials and equipment which is no longer usable in accordance to the terms of this policy. So there was an individual, which is a superintendent, who I consider to be the person that would know if an item has been removed from the district. Trustee Gomez, is there any other?
Yes, there are. Lord is 6.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board, superintendent. I come here to the board and to our superintendent to say that it saddens me and it's downright embarrassing to see such behaviors displayed on this board from a board member. What example is being displayed to our youth and our students? How do we expect the students to respect teachers and administrators in the buildings they're being taught at, when our own board member doesn't display respect or self-discipline, and now making headlines on local newspapers of stolen property? It's just not becoming. It's saddening. And you know what? It's becoming to the point where everybody is dividing. Shame on you. Unacceptable.
The division before that.
Trustee Gomez, any other?
Yes. Kenny Monroe? Okay. Louis Segura?
Good evening, fellow East Chicago citizens, school board members, and prospective candidates for office. I'm here today as a lifelong EC resident and former teacher at East Chicago Central. And many might say, why did you move away? But I'm not going to get into all that because I want to move home. I want to talk today and take this opportunity to share my thoughts about what's going on today and how we can improve the future of our city and our school system. Years back, I approached our mayor to talk about an opportunity to have our high school culinary arts students showcase their talents at the city's marina. I set up a meeting with our mayor and prepared for hours. I came with the business plan in hand, ready to show my ideas about our students could develop their culinary skills and prepare for the workforce and future careers, even generating revenue for our city. within 5 or 10 minutes of this meeting, I was told flat out, the school system and the city have nothing to do with each other, and my plan would not be considered or further discussed. I wasn't trying to do something to make myself rich. I just wanted to take my students into a place in the city, in East Chicago, so that they could showcase their talents what I was teaching them. The fact that our city and school system have nothing to do with each other is a little funny after light of the current events. I'm not gonna get into all this about wipes or this or that. My focus is on the future of our children. They're the future. And when they see what's going on in the city, divided, saying this race, that race, that's not what we need. When we grew up as individuals in our city, we all got along. We all got along. We could go to parties and party in the basement and have house, and everything was fine. And now it seems like it's even worse. It's them or this, and that's not the way that it should be, or it hurts my heart. I'm speaking from my heart and telling you that we need to unite our city and have us all love each other. And I'm not going to sit here and talk about this candidate, that candidate. You know who you are. You know what you're about. Do your job, and I'll move back, and I'll help this city with you. Thank you, East Chicago. I love you, and I'm here for you. That's all I have to say.
Mr. President, that was the last speaker that signed up for tonight.
Okay. The next date and time of our meeting will be Monday, May 1st at 6 p.m. Do I hear a motion for adjournment?
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting, Mr. President.
A motion made by trustee Gibson King. Is there a second?
Second.
Second made by trustee Gomez. Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Yes.
Trustee Gibson King?
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Yes, that concludes our meeting today.